Welcome. We are now in module 3, the reactor design and cost estimation, and in the previous three lectures, we saw the various aspects of reactor design, the qualitative and quantitative treatments of various aspects, and at the end of last lecture, I had given you a problem of fermenter design, okay, that we have to solve in this lecture, and we shall also see another problem on design of a fixed bed reactor for methanol manufacture. For your convenience, now I repeat the problem statement briefly. We have been given the reactor of fermentation, glucose fermentation to produce ethanol. The microorganism used is Saccharomyces cerevisiae. The temperature of the fermenter is 303 Kelvin at atmospheric pressure. The rate of glucose consumption has been given as K into 1 minus C ethanol by C star ethanol raised to 0.6. Now, this process is self inhibitory, which means the ethanol that is formed in the process kills the bacteria, and therefore, at certain concentration of ethanol, all the bacteria are killed and the glucose fermentation stops. That particular concentration, inhibitory concentration of ethanol C star has been given as 90 kg per meter cube. And then we have a simple monode kinetics, K into 1 minus C ethanol by C star ethanol raised to 0.6 into Cg, the concentration of glucose, into CCS, the concentration of bacteria, divided by Cg plus Cm. Cm is the Michaelis-Menten constant. Various values are given as K is equal to 1.6 into 10 to minus 3 second inverse. The inhibitory concentration, as I just said, is 90 kg per meter cube. The Michaelis-Menten constant is 2 kg per meter cube. Ethanol yield has been given as 0.47 kg ethanol per kg glucose consumed, and the cell yield is 0.06 kg Saccharomyces cerevisiae per kg glucose consumed. Cell yield means basically the amount of cell that gets deactivated or killed. We have to answer 3 questions in this. First of all, we have to estimate the time required for 95% conversion of glucose in a batch reactor. Initial glucose concentration has been given as 15 kg per meter cube. Initial cell concentration has been given as 0.015 kg per meter cube. The total volume of the reactor is 10 meter cube. However, it is filled only to 75% of the capacity. So, the total working volume is 7.5 meter cube. In the second question, we have to determine the flow rate required for a PFR. Suppose the batch reactor is converted into a PFR, then we have to estimate the flow rate in this PFR to produce the same conversion as for the batch reactor and the same reactor volume, okay, effective. And then the concentration of the bacteria here, however, is larger. It is 0.09 kg per meter cube, the initial concentration. Okay. And the third question is about converting the same PFR into a CSTR, single CSTR. Initial concentration of bacteria is further raised almost 10 times to 0.95 kg per meter cube, and the flow rate is maintained at 3 meter cube per hour, okay, of glucose. And then initial concentration of glucose is same and also the conversion. So, we have to estimate here the volume and cost of this particular CSTR. Now, let us deal with each of these problem one by one. The first one, batch reactor. Now, we have to estimate the time. The time for batch reaction is given as integral 0 to theta d theta, where theta is the time, is equal to integral ni naught to ni e dni divided by Vr into Ri. This is a general rate expression for batch reactors that we had seen in the previous lecture. Ni are the number of moles of the reacting species, 0 indicates the initial moles, E indicates at equilibrium, Vr is the volume of the reactor. Now, in the present situation, the volume of reactor is going to stay constant. So, we can convert the number of moles into concentration. Now, here the main reacting species is glucose. So, I is glucose. So, C glucose initial to C glucose final, okay, D C glucose divided by R glucose. Okay. This is the rate expression. Okay. Now, we here onwards we will indicate glucose concentration by Cg and not glucose as a full word for brevity. Okay. We have been given that the initial concentration Cgi is equal to 15 kg per meter cube, and we have to go for 95%. So, the final concentration is 0.05 into 15, that is 0.75 kg per meter cube. We have to evaluate this integral, and we have a complicated expression. You have two options, either integrate in the form of a summation, okay, or integrate directly using some basic software like Polymath or MathCAD. However, we have to first write the integrand, the R glucose. If we substitute all values, K 1.6 into 10 to power minus 3 into 1 minus C ethanol divided by 90 kg per meter cube. This unit K unit is second inverse, this 0.kg as 90 kg per meter cube raised to 0.6 Cg into CSC divided by Cg plus the Michaelis-Menten constant 2 kg per meter cube. Okay. Now we have to integrate this, we have to convert C ethanol and C Saccharomyces cerevisiae as a function of glucose concentration, and for this purpose we use the yield that has been given to us. The concentration of the cells reduces as ethanol forms, and the reduction is in terms of glucose. Initial concentration is 0.015 kg per meter cube minus the yield 0.06 Cg into the concentration of glucose. Then similarly, C ethanol is initial C ethanol by ethanol per glucose yield and to Cg, and this turns out to be minus 0.47. Oh, I am sorry, this is plus initial plus the ethanol that forms, okay, into Cg. And now we substitute all these values in the expression. Well, please make a correction here. The concentration of ethanol, instantaneous concentration of ethanol, CETOH, is the initial concentration minus the final concentration or instantaneous concentration at time theta. Okay. And then initial concentration is 0. The yield of ethanol per glucose fermented is 0.47 kg. Okay. So, 0.47 kg ethanol per kg glucose. Now, volume is going to remain constant. So, we multiply by Cg, okay, concentration of glucose. And now we substitute everything into the expression. R glucose is equal to, or minus R glucose is equal to 1.6 into 10 to power minus 3 into 1 plus 0.47 by 90 C glucose raised to 0.6 into C glucose into 0.015 minus 0.06 C glucose divided by C glucose plus 2, and then putting this into the previous integral d Cg by R glucose with limits as initial concentration 15 and final concentration 0.575. Okay. Now, if you absorb this minus sign, then the limits get exchanged. Okay. So, that we do here, we absorb the minus sign and exchange the limits dCg divided by Rg, R glucose, which is this expression. We substitute here, and then we can carry out this integral using any basic software like MathCAD or MATLAB, and then we get the total time as 64440 seconds, which is equivalent to 17.9 hours. This is how we find out the time for fermentation. However, this time is for the process if the entire reactor was filled with glucose. Remember that VR sign we absorbed in, if you see the previous integral, okay, we had this VR and VR was absorbed as it is into for making out the concentration. However, we have been given that only 75% of the volume of the reactor has been filled. Therefore, now that variation is linear. Therefore, obviously, the time for fermentation is reduced by that much quantity. So, the time for actual fermentation is 0.75 into 17.9 hours, that is equal to 13.4 hours. So, this is the answer to the first question, the time required for 95% of conversion of the glucose for the conditions that we stated earlier. Okay. So, this is answer to the first question. Now, second question is about the PFR, fermenter as plug flow reactor. Now, here again we do the same thing. The governing equation for plug flow reactor is VR is equal to Fi naught integral 0 to xi z dxiz divided by minus Ri. Now, notations are VR the reactor volume, then xiz the conversion, total conversion obtained, minus Ri is the rate expression, and Fi naught is the volumetric flow rate of the reactant. Now, again volume is going to remain constant. So, what we do is that we convert this conversion in terms of concentration. VR is equal to F G, because here the flow rate is that of glucose, okay, CGI to CGF, initial concentration of glucose to final concentration, dCg divided by 1.6 into 10 to power minus 3, exactly same thing, but with slight modification of the concentration of the microorganism. So, this is the volume that we get in the form of integral. Now, the limits remain the same. we have been given that the initial concentration of glucose is same as that for the batch reactor, 15 kg per meter cube, and conversion is also same, 95% conversion. So the final concentration is 0.05 into 15, that is 0.75 kg per meter cube. So again you can perform the integration using any basic software. This particular integral you can perform using any basic software, and then you can find the answer as (7.5) the volume of PFR. Remember that we have been given volume of PFR in this case. We have to find out the flow rate. Okay. Now 10 meter cube was the volume of the batch reactor, but it was filled only to 75% of the volume. So the working volume was 7.5. We have to find out flow rate for a PFR which has same volume as that in case of batch. So we do not take the 10 meter cube total volume of batch reactor, but the 7.5 meter cube working volume. That becomes the left hand side of the integral, that F glucose, and the integral is 2.947 into 10 to power 3. This is what you get, and then this seconds, okay, and you convert it into hours. So F into 0.8186 hours, and Fg then becomes 7.5 divided by 0.8186 or 9.16 meter cube per hour. So the answer to second question, the flow rate of glucose in a PFR is 9.16 meter cube per hour. Now the third question. In third question, we have two problems. First is to find out the volume of the CSTR, and then we have to find out the cost. So we first go for the volume. Now here again we take the basic governing equation. VR by Fi naught is equal to XIE, the equilibrium conversion, minus Xi naught, the conversion at time 0, divided by rate of this thing. And now I is essentially glucose. So replacing I by G, VR volume of the reactor divided by Fg initial into Cg. Here equilibrium is the final concentration, initial is I, Cgi divided by minus R glucose. Now here we have to estimate the rate of glucose conversion on the basis of final concentration. Remember, in CSTR everything is mixed, so we can estimate the rate of reaction inside the reactor based on the outlet concentration of the glucose, because everything is mixed, so concentration is uniform. So here we estimate the glucose concentration on the basis of final rate of glucose conversion on the basis of final concentration of glucose. Okay. Now we know that CGF, final concentration of glucose, is 0.75 kg per meter cube, and then we substitute all the values. Remember here that the concentration of the microbes, the Saccharomyces cerevisiae, has been raised 10 times to 0.95 kg per meter cube. So minus R glucose is 1.6 into 10 to power minus 3, 1 plus 0.47 divided by 90 into Cg raised to 0.6, again Cg into 0.95 minus 0.06 Cg divided by Cg plus 2. and then here we do not have to perform any integration, you have to simply substitute Cg F here and then calculate. So, this particular bracket is evaluated as 1.0023, this particular is integrated as 0.2468, and then we get the rate of glucose conversion as 1.422 kg meter cube per hour. Now, we have to calculate VR. Now, to calculate VR, we have to know Fi naught, the flow rate of glucose into the reactor, that has been given to us as 3 meter cube per hour. So, 3 meter cube per hour into the initial minus final minus initial. So, 0.75 minus 15 divided by, now minus Ri, because R minus Ri, so we absorb the sign here, minus 1.422 and then the VR turns out to be 30 meter cube. So, we have answered the first bit of this particular. Okay. Now, the next task is to estimate the cost. Now, before we do that, we have to select the type of reactor and accessories. Now, since we are carrying out fermentation, we have to go either for a stainless steel reactor or a carbon steel reactor with some lining for prevention of the erosion, let us say like glass lined. Then it has to be a jacketed reactor to control the temperature, and it should have sufficient mechanical agitation. Okay. So, that point we note here. We go for glass lined SS kettle type reactor with mechanical agitation. Now, we have been given the cost correlations. To estimate the cost, we have to see the cost correlation. Several sources of these correlations are available. What you see on the screen now is the cost correlation for kettles. Okay. The cost includes the jacket, the agitator, thermometer well, drive, support, and also the manhole cover and stuffing box. Now, various types of reactors are available. We go for the glass lined reactor and then 30 meter cube of volume. So, we have to extend this particular line to 30 meter cube, 10, 20, 30. So, typically this. So, here we get the cost as approximately $200,000. Okay. So, this is the installed cost. Now, if this cost is not available, is not affordable, then we can choose different material of construction. Okay. And then let us say the 316 stainless steel kettles. Here is the cost of the glass lined reactor, $200,000 or $300,000. Okay, that I just mentioned. Or if you find this as not suitable, then you can go for 316 stainless steel or even regular stainless steel, lead line stainless steel. cost will be little bit less, but anyway you are not going to get below $200,000 to $250,000. So that point to note. Remember again, this is the cost correlation made in January 2002. Okay, we have to update the cost information. Cost of glass lined kettle is $300,000. Installed cost. Cost in January 2002 is this. We have to update to January 2012. Now this we can do using cost indexes such as Marshall and Swift index, that we denote as MNS. So the cost in 2012 is essentially cost in 2002 into Marshall and Swift index at 2012 divided by Marshall and Swift index at 2002. Now this particular thing is rather easy. I leave it as an exercise for you. You look into the various sources, websites, as well as regular journals like Journal Chemical Engineering published by Institution of Chemical Engineers, and now Marshall and Swift indices are published regularly in these journals. Find out the Marshall and Swift index at 2002, 2012, take a ratio and update this cost. This is left as an exercise for you. Okay. So this completes our problem on fermentation. Now we have to go for the next problem, that is problem on methanol synthesis in a fixed bed reactor. What you see on screen now is the problem definition. Consider a packed bed reactor for catalytic production of methanol from synthesis gas with a reversible reaction as CO plus 2H2 gives CH3OH. The reaction is highly exothermic, 90 kilojoules or 90 megajoules per kilomole heat released. The rate expression is in the form of Langmuir-Hinshelwood kinetics. Okay. Partial pressure of CO, P bar CO into partial pressure of H2 square minus partial pressure of CH3OH divided by K divided by this particular thing, A plus B partial pressure CO, C partial pressure H2. Now partial pressure is applicable only in case of ideal gas. Now the behavior may deviate from ideal gas, so we can say fugacities here. So P bar are the fugacities of different components. The rate expression is kg mole CO per kg catalyst per minute. The reaction conditions are quite harsh, temperature of 500 Kelvin, pressure of 5000 kilopascals or 5 megapascals. The coefficient in the rate expression at 500 Kelvin are this ABC. K is the equilibrium constant, 3 into 10 to power minus 7 kilopascal raised to minus 2. A is 23,400 kilopascal raised to 3 by 2 into kg mole per kg catalyst per minute raised to minus half. The unit remains the same for other thing, like for B the value is 126, unit is root kPa into kg mole divided by kg catalyst per minute raised to minus half. C is 47 root kPa, kg mole per kg catalyst per minute raised to minus half. Okay. The catalyst has bulk density of 700 kg per meter cube of reactor volume. The reactor is externally cooled so as to have isothermal operation at 500 Kelvin and the reactants are fed in stoichiometric proportion. Okay. The fugacity coefficients can be assumed to be 1. Now, we ignore the side reactions in this case. We assume no side reaction occur. Water gas shift reaction is a possible side reaction, but we assume it to be negligible. And then again we have to answer 3 bits here, 3 questions. First, calculate the carbon monoxide conversion at equilibrium. Second, for carbon monoxide conversion equal to 95% of the equilibrium, calculate catalyst to feed ratio in kg catalyst per minute per kg mole CO, or kg catalyst per kg mole CO per minute. And then third, for conversion of 95% of the equilibrium and a reactor production rate of 50 metric tons per hour of methanol, select and estimate the size and cost of a suitable reactor. So 3 questions. We take the first one, that is the calculating the equilibrium conversion of methanol. Now at equilibrium, the net rate of reaction is 0. Okay. Therefore, the numerator of the rate expression that we saw should be 0. And if we do that, then we can immediately calculate the K equilibrium constant of the reaction as fugacity of methanol divided by fugacity of carbon monoxide into fugacity of hydrogen raised to 2. We have been given fugacity coefficient equal to 1. So, we can directly convert the fugacity in terms of mole fractions. The fugacity is equal to total pressure P of the reactor into Y CH3OH, the mole fraction of methanol. Then for the denominator, P cube into Y mole fraction of carbon monoxide, Y mole fraction of hydrogen. Okay. The mole fraction, now we have to estimate. These can be expressed in terms of conversion of CO, which is the main or the reference reactant, okay, which we denote by X. The conversion of carbon monoxide is X. So, if we assume that the initial moles of carbon monoxide and hydrogen are 1:2, because we have been given that the synthesis gas mixture is fed in stoichiometric proportion, there is nothing excess of any component. COH2 is 2:1 or 1:2. So, CO after conversion of X moles, the moles of CO that remain is 1 minus X, then similarly for H2 2 minus 2X and CH3OH X. Now, since this is a equilibrium limited reaction, the total moles remain constant at any time. Okay. So, the total moles, okay, in the system are 1 minus X plus 2 minus 2X plus X. Okay. Carbon monoxide, hydrogen, methanol, that is 3 minus 2X. And then the mole fraction of the 3 species is YCO 1 minus X divided by the total moles, YH2 2 minus 2X divided by total moles, YCH3OH X divided by total moles. And now we substitute these mole fractions into the expression for equilibrium. K equilibrium is equal to P divided by P cube into mole fraction of mole fraction of methanol X divided by 3 minus 2X into mole fraction of carbon monoxide and mole fraction of hydrogen, and then we get this particular expression. K equilibrium equal to 1 divided by P square into 3 minus 2X into X divided by 1 minus X into 2 minus 2X squared. And now we substitute various values here. We have been given the total pressure as 5000 kilopascal, 5 megapascal, K equilibrium as 3 into 10 to power minus 7 kilopascal raised to minus 2. After substituting everything and simplifying, we find that we get actually a polynomial K after expansion. So, that polynomial I will give you. The polynomial that you get after expansion of this particular quantity is, I am going to give you now, 34x cube minus 102x square plus 99x minus 30 is equal to 0. Now, this you have to solve to get the answer. of x. Okay. Now this we can solve using simple Newton-Raphson technique, and then x new is equal to x old minus f x divided by f dash x. Okay. This is a simple formula. You put in any subroutine of MathCAD or MATLAB, and then you can find out x is equal to 0.484. So that is the equilibrium conversion of methanol for given condition. So that is answer to the first question. Now the second question is about determination of the catalyst weight required for %90 of this conversion, or 95%, sorry, 95% of conversion. Now the general formula for a catalytic reactor, we have been given a packed bed reactor. The rate expression is in terms of kg catalyst. So we can assume a plug flow reactor, plug flow behavior. However, since the rate expression is in terms of weight of catalyst, we write instead of volume, the weight of catalyst is equal to Fi naught to Xi naught into Xi z divided by d Xi z divided by minus Ric, the rate expression with respect to catalyst. We have to calculate the rate expression in terms of conversion. Well, we use the same values as before. Of mole fraction, we have been given fugacity coefficient to be 1. So the fugacities can be converted into total pressure into mole fraction. Now I am going to directly give that answer using the same mole fraction as before. Carbon monoxide 1 minus x divided by 3 minus 2x into hydrogen fugacity p square total pressure square 3 minus 2x squared minus the equilibrium x divided by 3 minus 2x divided by the equilibrium constant 3 into 10 to power minus 7, and the whole expression divided by the constant A plus B into PCO, fugacity of CO that we write, plus 47 into fugacity of hydrogen and whole thing squared. And now the limits of integration are Xi naught equal to 0 and Xi z equal to 0.95 of X equilibrium. X equilibrium we have just estimated as 0.484. Okay. This is a complicated expression of rate. Again, I suggest you to use simple softwares like go for numerical integration. I directly give you the value of the integral. Now, depending on the subroutine that you use or the software that you use, your own integral may differ slightly numerically, but that depends on the tolerance values that you have used. So my answer is 4.691, the integral. Here you can approximate as 0.46. Okay, it comes 4.4598, and then what I got is 4.691, the value of the integral. Okay. And then what we have is W C divided by Fi naught is equal to 4.691, the catalyst weight required per molar flow rate of carbon monoxide. This is kg catalyst divided by kg mole CO divided per minute. This is the answer to the second question. Remember, we still have not calculated the value of the molar flow rate of carbon monoxide. That depends on the total production rate of methanol. We move to the third bit of the problem, that is reactor size and cost estimation for production rate of 50 metric ton per hour of methanol. Now, the stoichiometry is 1 mole of methanol is produced per mole of CO converted. However, all of the CO is not converted, so we have to take into account the equilibrium conversion, or let us say the 95% equilibrium conversion. Maybe we can assume a little bit less, let us say 90% for to make sure that our reactor operates. Okay, so we design that point, we note here design conversion, we shift from 95% to 90% just to make sure that our reactor operates. Okay, 95% is very close to equilibrium. The molar flow rate of CO required would be 50,000 kg methanol per hour into or we convert this kg into molar production by dividing the molecular weight 32 kg of methanol, and then we have been given the rate in terms of minute. So, we convert hour into minute, the hourly production to minute production, and then as I said that not all of the CO gets converted. So, we take this, the 90% conversion, 0.434, 90% of 0.484 or 485 that we estimated as equilibrium conversion. This turns out to be something like 59.78 kg mole CO per minute, which you can further approximate as 60 kg mole per minute. Okay. We have to estimate the reactor volume. We have just estimated the catalyst weight that we need per mole of CO reacted. So, the reactor volume can be estimated on the basis of catalyst weight that we need divided by the packing density of catalyst that has been given to us as 700 meter cube kg per meter cube. 4.691 kg catalyst per kg mole CO per minute into 60 kg mole CO per minute divided by 700 kg catalyst per meter cube reactor volume. Remember, this is not the actual density of the catalyst, it is the packing density of catalyst. So, this turns out to be the volume is equal to approximately 0.4 meter cube reactor volume. After calculating the reaction volume, we have designed the reactor. We are given that the reactor is a fixed bed reactor. Since the heat of reaction is quite high, something like 90 kilojoules per mole of CO, we have to go for a shell and tube heat exchanger as a reactor, in which the catalyst will be packed in the tubes and the cooling fluid will flow through the shell. Okay. The heat duty of the reactor, we have to first calculate the heat of reaction into the molar conversion of CO per unit time. We have rate constant in minute, but the heat transfer coefficient will be in kilowatt. So, we convert that flow rate into second per second flow rate. So, 59.78 kg mole CO per minute divided by 60 second into 90 into 10 to power 3 kilojoule per kg mole CO. So, that gives us the total heat of reaction as 90,000 kilojoules per second or 90 megawatt. Okay. We have to choose the type of shell and tube heat exchanger. We have two options, first floating head and fixed tube sheet, okay, fixed tube sheet type of reactor. We have to we have to remove and regenerate the catalyst during shutdown and restart. So, floating head heat exchanger would be more suitable than the fixed sheet. Therefore, we go for that particular design, floating head exchanger. Now, we have to choose the tube diameter and the tube length. Okay. We choose 2-inch diameter of the tubes so as to have sufficient flow velocity as well as heat transfer rate, and the tube length we choose as 20 feet depending on the typical sizes of the reactor that are available. Okay. The volume of one tube will be 0.00956 meter cube. So, the total number of tubes that will be needed for making up the 0.4 meter cube reaction volume will be 0.4 divided by 0.00956, that is equal to 42 tubes. Now, we have to see whether the area that is available in these 42 tubes is sufficient to achieve the required heat removal rate of 90,000 kilowatt or 90 megawatt. The surface area of the tube can be estimated by standard pi r square h formula, and it turns out to be 0.973 meter square per tube. So, the total area of 42 tubes is 42 into 0.973, that is 41 meter square. We have to assume delta T log mean in the reactor, that we take typical value as 50 degrees centigrade, and we take the heat transfer coefficient order of magnitude as 250 watt per meters per Kelvin. This is because the reactor volume is fixed bed type and the reactant is in gas phase. So, we are not likely to achieve very high heat transfer rates there. So, we have taken a moderate overall heat transfer coefficient of 250 watt per meters per Kelvin. So, the heat removal rate that will be achieved Q will be 250 into 50 into 41 UA delta T. Q is equal to UA delta T, and then the heat removal rate, that can be maximum heat removal rate that could be achieved is 513 kilowatt. Now, this is far smaller than 90,000 kilowatt that we want. Okay. Therefore, this design is not feasible. Now, what we do is that we take heat transfer as basis and then redesign the reactor with the same delta T log mean and overall heat transfer coefficient. To achieve 90,000 kilowatt heat removal rate, the heat exchanger area that will be required, again using the same formula, Q is equal to UA delta T, okay, will be area equal to 90,000 divided by 0.25 kilowatt the heat transfer coefficient into 50. So, 7,200 meters square. Now, with area of one tube as 0.973 meter square per tube, now we keep the dimensions of the tube constant because those have been chosen on the basis of hydrodynamics. So, the number of total tubes will be required will be 7,400. Now, we have a limitation that maximum surface area that can be accommodated in a single shell and tube heat exchanger with certain dimension, like reasonable dimension, is about 900 to 1000 meters square. We take the lower limit 900 meters square. Therefore, to have 7,200 meters square total area, we need 8 reactors in parallel. Okay. So, that is about the design. Okay. So, we have floating head and the tube of 2-inch, tube length 20 feet and 8 reactors. Now, we have to go for cost estimation. We have been given cost correlations of floating head heat exchanger. Now, here the diameter of the tube is 0.025 meter, 1 inch diameter, okay, square pitch and 16 feet bundle of carbon steel construction. And now, you can see here that if you take 900 meter square as area, then the typical cost that can be achieved or that is possible is about, let us say, 1.5 into 10 to power 5 dollars. So, this is the purchase cost. Now, another factor is the design pressure. Our reaction occurs at 5000 kilopascal. So, we have to choose the design pressure higher than that, 6895 kilopascal we choose the design pressure, and then for that particular design pressure and 900 meter square area, we get the purchase cost as approximately 1.5 or $105,000. But remember, these are for 1 inch diameter and 16 feet bundle of tubes of carbon steel construction. Now, we have quite harsh reaction conditions. Okay, we have the temperature of about 500 Kelvin and pressure of 5000 kilopascal. So carbon steel may not be a suitable material. Okay, so we have to go for stainless steel, both stainless steel shell and stainless steel tubes. Therefore, we have to apply correction factor of 3 here. Okay, the cost has to be increased by factor of 3. Okay, that is a correction factor for the material of construction. Furthermore, we have to apply correction factor for the diameter as well as length, okay, but that we shall see later. Okay. So, the total cost of 8 reactors after correction for material of construction will be 3 into 8 into $150,000. So, something like $3.6 million. Now, we go for the additional correction factors, for correction factor for the tube length and the correction factor for the diameter. Now, that tube length which was there in the correlation was 16 feet, ours is 20 feet. So, we have to choose that particular correction values 16 feet. Okay. These are the correction factors, and then we have to take a ratio. Here we get approximately 1 and here 0.97 for 20 feet. Okay. Here 0.9 and 1, in between we can say this is 0.97, this is 1. Okay. So, that is the ratio of correction factors for the tube length. Thereafter, we have to also go for the ratio of the diameters. Now, our diameter is 2 inch. So, this particular correlation is only up to 1.4 inch. We have to extrapolate this. So, I have done this and then I have found out that the correction relative cost is for a 2 inch diameter is something like 1.7, the correction factor 1.75, and now for 1 inch you can see here that the correction factor is 1. Oh, sorry, the correlation was for 3.4 inch outer diameter. Okay, outer diameter 3.4 inch and 1 inch square pitch. So, we have to take the correction factor for 3.4, okay, or 0.75, which is well right here, and then this turns out to be something like 0.91. So, the correction factor for the tube diameter is 1.75 divided by 0.91. 0.91 corresponding to 3.3 by 4 inch tube correlation that we just saw. 1 inch was the pitch, square pitch of the tubes, and the diameter was 3.4 inch, not 1 inch as I said earlier. Okay. So, we have to go for correction factor because our diameter is higher of 2 inch, and then after the correction factors we have to recalculate the cost. Correction for tube diameter 1.75 divided by 1, correction for tube length 0.96 divided by 1. So, the total cost of $3.6 million is adjusted for the correction factors, and we get the new total cost as $6.646 million. Now, remember that these correlations were formulated in 2002. Okay. So, you have to update them. Okay. This correlation was given for January 2002. So, you have to update it for the 2012 cost. Now, that I leave as an exercise. Okay. Updating of the cost is left as an exercise. You can do it by taking the ratio of the cost indices, like Marshall and Swift index is a standard index used for cost corrections, okay, or cost inflation. So, you take the cost index, Marshall and Swift cost index for 2002, then you also take the Marshall and Swift cost index for 2012. The ratio of these two indices will, that ratio you multiply by the total cost in 2002, that will give you the total cost in 2012. But I leave this as an exercise. The cost indices are available in standard journals. And these journals are Chemical Engineering, publication of IChemE, Institution of Chemical Engineers, Chemical Engineering Progress, or Chemical Weekly. So, look into these techno-commercial journals to get the cost indices. So, that completes the module 3 of this course, that is reactor design and cost estimation.